Hello, people. Start in the United States of America with US light vehicle sales, and you're almost back to 15 million SAAR, seasonally adjusted annual rate, which is remarkable. But apparently your fleet of cars was getting dreadfully old, and there are some really spankingly good deals in the showrooms at the moment where they loan you or lease you a car for nearly nothing. So it's irresistible, and that's a very impressive comeback from the under 10 million at the depths of the recession. Talking about coming back from the depths of the recession, this is an interesting one. NELP has put this together from the current population survey. Now, jobs lost in the recession, sticky out left. The recession is 2008 to 2010. Sticky out right is the recovery, 2010 to 2012. So you're with me? Jobs lost in the recession, the dark one on the right. Jobs gained in the recovery. Okay. High wage occupations, jobs lost, quite a lot, 1,200,000 or something, just to give you an idea of the numbers. And in the recovery, high wage occupations have come back, but not as many as have been lost. Mid-wage occupations, nearly 4 million lost, and very few have come back. Only 700,000 or something have come back of mid-wage occupations, and I'm sure you've already caught up now. Jobs lost in the recession, lower wage occupations, burger flippers and checkout people, I imagine. The low wage occupations, 1.4 million lost in the recession. Jobs gained back nearly 2 million. So the jobs that are coming back are not the higher or mid-wage, but if they are coming back as lower wage occupations. And I think anybody with their eyes open will have noticed that. So that was the United States, of course, from the current population survey. Right, just north of the American people are more American people in Canada. Now, the United States here, in blue, is their debt-to-personal disposable income ratio. Debt-to-personal income ratio, which has plateaued and gone down slightly. There is a bit of deleveraging going on in the households of the United States, but Canada are still giving it large. That green one, bottom left, top right, they are still going for it. And, of course, what cannot be sustained will not be sustained. It will stop one day. Speaking of stopping one day, Bloomberg, Spain, set to surrender rank of 12th biggest economy to Australia. Yeah, Australia is still bottom left, top righting. Although it's getting a bit jittery, it's still doing better than Spain is. With China slowing, obviously, Australia is going to get slapped upsides the head. Last chart, it looks a bit confusing, and it is. It's worth, if you can follow the link and read the report. What we have is, back at the start of the recession, Germany and France were full of money, and they lent that money out to the peripheral countries because they thought there was minimal risk in it. But during the recession and afterwards, they found that there wasn't minimal, there was maximum risk in lending to the periphery. So the French and German banks have sucked their exposure back into themselves or away from the periphery. And all those arrows, those yellowy arrows and bluey arrows, are pointing back into German banks and French banks. Like the German banks' non-exposure, tearing up their exposure, selling their exposure, getting rid of their exposure to Ireland is now down 81.7 billion. It's down over 100 billion to Spain and 78 billion to Italy, and 25 billion to Greece, which is quite impressive. And into the French banks have got rid of 91.7 billion to Italy, 48 billion to Spain, and 37.7 billion to Ireland, etc., etc. But what this is stressing again is that the banks, which are at the heart of the problem in Europe, are bringing everything home. France is bringing its exposure back into France. Germany is bringing its exposure back into Germany. And as they leave Spain and Italy and Portugal and Ireland, Spain and Italy and Portugal and Ireland, banks are taking on their own business, household and sovereign debts. Basically, the Eurozone is splitting itself up, or at least making itself safe, so if it just happens to split up, it won't be too horrific. But it's kind of, it is actually what's happening on the ground. It is splitting itself up. And the little charts on the right are showing that the risk ratings now for countries are obviously pro rata to the risk, although the ECB is meant to step in and try and play with those. But even small and medium-sized businesses in countries like Spain and Italy have to pay 6.5% for a business loan, where in France and Germany it's 4%. And that obviously keeps the wedge of the efficiency of those countries apart. The Eurozone is effectively splitting itself apart, despite the operations of the powers that be. And that is all for today. Au revoir.